Let's hear this woman explain her theory on why she's still single and how she's managed to rationalize it.
I have this thought, and I've recorded this several times, and I don't know how to say it in a way that makes sense, but I was thinking the other day, as you get older, like when you're in your 30s and you're dating, there's less people who are available within your age range because most of the time they're married or in a relationship. But half the time, I feel like those people aren't even happy. So the people who are single, who are like trying to pursue, let's say, their real love, there's less people to choose from. And what if their person is married or in a relationship? And I'm not saying they should cheat. What I'm saying is the pool of people are so much smaller because people are settling. And
Why do you assume this person in a marriage or a relationship is somehow still your person, potential person? Hey, lady, look at reality. Reality tells you that person is not your person.
and the people who are pursuing real love don't get to find that because everyone else is just following the rules and falling under pressure and doing what they think they should do. And it's so sad. It's like, as a society, as cultures, and wherever we come from as people, we're just so caught up in doing what looks right and what's expected of us that it's a wonder why so many people are depressed, because they don't really get a chance to get to know themselves and follow their own rules and their own paths, because there really aren't any rules. All these things that we've made up are just things that we've made up.
Wow.
Marriage is a thing that we've made up. it's, there's nothing like in the universe like that says that this should be the case. We're meant to procreate, but we're not really necessarily meant to be married. It's a beautiful thing, the idea of love and choosing someone forever. I mean, it doesn't really you don't have to have a document for it. You could be like a penguin and give someone a pebble. Yeah, I'm working on this theory. So I'll eventually
I'm convinced.
be able to say it in a way that makes more sense to everyone, but you get it.
So she wants to talk about feelings. Well, I feel like I just lost some IQ points listening to her yap, acting like she's someone who's pursuing real love while everybody else, well, they all settled. They chose something lesser for themselves. Oh, but not her. She's way too cool for that. She's above it. She is holding out for her Prince Charming, a man with minimal flaws and maximum attraction, unlike all these other bozos out there that women are ending up with. If you ask me, it's like a coping mechanism for why she's still single. It kind of comes off like denial. She hasn't found a man, but the people around her, her friends, family, of course, social media, well, they're in relationships, but she's not. So how does she rationalize that? Well, we know how. She tells herself those people are just, they're more prone to conform, to comply with the social constructs, the rules, but not her. She's a rebel. The system can't hold her down. It is not going to convince her to settle for just any old average man. And it's funny, marriage kind of gets reduced to, made up rules right around the time it becomes unavailable to her. That's when suddenly she starts pontificating about the institution, not because she doesn't care and she's outside of it, but because she does care and she doesn't have it. So she says, well, everybody's just settling. That's why they're married and I'm not. Because I don't want to settle. What is marriage really, right? Just a social construct, even though she clearly wants it. So you look at a woman like this and you know exactly where this is going. She's going to get older, and evidently she's in her 30s. She's going to stay single and childless, and she'll keep telling herself she is better than the men who were actually willing to stick around. Now, maybe one day she'll drop the delusion about the kind of man she qualifies for, but for now, The real question is whether she could sustain a commitment at all. Actually, a lot of contemporary women are incapable of keeping a family together, and they need to stop lying to themselves about it. Stop wasting men's time and resources, and courting and then ultimately divorce. Stop pulling children away from their fathers because of an identity crisis the woman is going through. If women want the kind of liberated, non-traditional, anti-patriarchy lifestyle or culture, they should commit to it. They should live that way without kidding themselves, right? And pursuing contradictory paths like family and monogamy. Have some self-awareness. Own the choice and leave men out of their bullshit, futile, immature journey of female self-discovery. When I first watched that clip, the first thing that came to mind was like some guy saying, I could have gone pro if I wanted. Kind of what it felt like. Yeah, I could be married, if I wanted to, but the system is not going to be making me settle for some average guy. Meanwhile, all the other women who did marry, they're not pursuing real love like she is. They're just towing the line, and I think she really believes it. She actually believes there's a man out there who's supposed to be with her, but it can't happen because he ended up settling for some woman less than her. Less than her. She has to believe that. She has to believe that everyone else is just secretly unhappy just so she can feel ahead of them instead of behind.
It's not spoken about enough how hard it is being the other woman that doesn't get chosen and the one that just gets discarded like trash while the other one gets the changed man and gets a future and gets everything from the universe. And look, I know, sure, maybe it's not the way it seems on the outside, sure, but at the end of the day, imagine being chosen.
Here come the waterworks.
Even that alone, even if it didn't end up the way I wanted it to be, I just can't imagine the feeling of being chosen. I'm never chosen for anything, and I know I sound so, crying, pick me, I don't care. I'm so tired of living as someone that's never chosen for anything. And it just feels like I'm on this path that just sucks.
Oh, she's so tired.
And I really hope maybe it will all be worth it one day. And I hope I could prove to you guys that it will be worth it one day, because I don't want to be wrong when I say it gets better. But right now, I'm just really in the dark. And I have good days, obviously, but the bad days are just so bad. This is it. And I feel like I did a lot today, and I did a lot yesterday, and it all just leads me to feeling this insane amount of pain. It sucks.
Social media, TikTok in particular, has set the idea of gender equality back many, many years. Because what it's revealed is when it comes to willingness to have an emotional and psychological breakdown in the public eye, women are more like children in that way than men. Men don't behave this way. There is not an epidemic of men recording selfie videos of them crying and complaining. They don't do that. They don't cry on camera and post it for strangers. They don't feel the need to do it, for one. But, even if we did want to do that, we wouldn't, because of the consequences. We know what that would do to our reputation. We know the sheer shame we would receive. But that's not why we don't do it. It's because we don't feel the need to. And this is why the idea that men and women are the same but separated only by genitalia, that falls apart the moment you observe real-world behavior such as this. And moving to what this was actually about, what she was actually talking about, it seems she's just revealing a bunch of entitlement. The belief that if she sleeps with him long enough or frequently enough and emotionally invests long enough, then commitment is just supposed to, materialize as her reward. But my question is, why? What's the point? Why should they commit? Women need to start learning how to please men again, and not just sexually. If these girls want to pursue attractive men, they obviously can, but thanks to feminism, there's lots of other girls who are also following their hypergamous instinct and are also giving up the milk. What makes you any different from them? Are you hotter? Do you cook for him? You clean for him? Do his laundry? The more primal human mating becomes, the more hypergamy and thus polygyny we see. These women want to throw out patriarchy and shame until they realize patriarchy and shame invented monogamy for everyone. Nothing she described in this is unusual in modern dating, situationships, and men don't commit. Her calling it unfair, that lets her avoid asking hard questions. It really does. Instead of critiquing herself, asking why she continues to end up in this scenario, just say, oh, I've been done such an injustice. Life is so hard. I'm never chosen, blah, blah, blah. Fall into a victimhood, mentality. It's actually, of course, it's easier to believe something bad was done to you than to admit you played a losing hand over and over.